Hello everyone, it's James here from the Sawyer Family Reviews channel. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022, and this is the weekly comic book pickups video. Every week I buy comic books. I get them for myself, I get them for my kids, I get them at Queen City Comics in Fairfield, Ohio, zip code 45014. If you're in the area and into comic books, check out that comic shop, and while you're over there, check out the toy department. Let's jump in. There's only one new book in here this week. Very light week for very light week for comics. There were, I think, 6 DC titles, maybe, like 12 Marvels, maybe 15 indies, and then like 10 images. It was very, very light. So there weren't a lot of options. There was none of the books that the boys regularly pick up or Gracie regularly picks up. So I grabbed a couple back issues and a new book for Blaze that he hasn't. It's in issue 1. We're going to see it in a second. And then, of course, we're going to have a book off of my shelves, excuse me, to remind you of remind myself and to tell you about the fandom I had for DC in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Okay? So let's jump in. First off, we've got some back issues. One of these is for Gracie and one of these is for Keaton. So I remember reading this, Eclipse of the Darkness Within. This was during this time of DC, they would do a storyline that would run through all the annuals. They did Armageddon 2001, then they did Eclipso, The Darkness Within, and then they did Bloodlines, and I think after that was either Elseworlds or Year One. I can't remember. So it would run through all the annuals. It started with Armageddon 2001, where they did like a special issue, and then they ran the storyline through a bunch of annuals, and they did another one. And they did the same thing with Eclipso, where you've got the first issue of Eclipso, The Darkness Within here, and then it would run through all the annuals and then end with issue 2. So the other day I picked up an Eclipso #1 for myself because I've just finished off all of Armageddon 2001, which has never been collected in trade paperbacks or omnibus or anything like that. And even though the ending of Armageddon 2001 got kind of muddled because of people figured out who Monarch was, this is a whole long story I'm getting into here. I really had fun collecting Armageddon 2001 as a kid. So I'm going back and making sure I have all those issues, and I think I might get a custom bound done of that eventually. So then now that I'm finishing that off, I want to go back and get all the Eclipsos, because I also enjoyed Eclipso a lot, The Darkness Within, those annuals. Especially the Robin annual was a lot of fun. It had Anarchy getting an Eclipso gem. So we watched Stargirl Season 2. I know I'm all over the place with this story. I'm sorry about that. We watched Stargirl Season 2, and the main bad guy of Season 2 is Eclipso. And I was like, wow, this reminds me of when I read Eclipso, The Darkness Within when I was a kid. So I picked up this first one, and this gem on the cover. There's an actual gem glued to the cover. And so I grabbed it, and I was like, I'll check this out. And Gracie's like, oh, I really want that. And so I was like, okay, you can have it. And we immediately peeled the gem off so she could have a gem. And so she has the first one. And so then I was like, well, Keaton probably wants it too because he really enjoyed Stargirl as well. So I grabbed him the first issue. This has got some really fun art by Bart Sears in it. And this is the character. A lot of the characterization and stuff from this issue is carried forth in that Stargirl storyline. So it kind of is fitting for what we were watching. So I grabbed the first one for Keaton, and I grabbed the second one for Gracie. I know that we've got all those annuals in between, but I'm hopeful that, it'll be good enough. And then if she wants to read other ones, or if Keaton wants to read other ones, we can go back and pick some of those annuals up. Look at this old Batman Returns handheld game ad. That's fun. So eventually we might go back and pick them all up. Let's look and see what a subscription cost back in the day. $15 for 12 issues of these books. $18 for 12 issues of these books, and $21 for 12 issues of these books. Crazy, man. I wish I could go back in time. No, I don't, because then I wouldn't have my kids. But you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, it's all over the place this time. Then I grabbed a new book. I told Blaze, hey, there's nothing here for you. Do you have any ideas? And I didn't hear anything back. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to grab this book, The Closet #1. There were quite a few there. I think there was like 25 copies there. It's by Tinian, which I know that name. James Tinian IV. Art by Gavin Fullerton. I have no idea what this book is about. It felt like it had a horror vibe to it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to grab it for Blaze because it seems like It's got sort of a mystery or horror vibe to it, so maybe he'll dig it. And it's an issue 1, so it's a good starting place. This was $3.99. I'm not even going to tell you the prices on those Eclipsos. Yeah, I am. They were $2.50 each originally. I think I paid around that still today. All right, and now for the book off my shelves. I'm going to go with Legends 30th Anniversary Edition, the trade paperback by John Ostrander, Lynn Wein, and art by John Byrne and Carl Kessel. So this, I think, was the first major crossover after Crisis on Infinite Earths. This book is out of print. I'm still going to leave a link down below to Amazon for this guy in case for some reason it pops back in stock, or maybe there's a digital version you can just download and check out. This trade originally retailed at $17.99, and it's the 30th Anniversary Edition, touting the Suicide Squad's first appearance in this book. Now, Legends as a crossover, I feel it's kind of weak. It's a little weak. So the story is that Darkseid wants to take out Earth, and his first way of doing it is to make the world distrust its heroes, and the heroes even distrust themselves. So he sends Glorious Godfrey down there, and he becomes this like public speaker guy talking against superheroes, and then he sends down another character that dies, and it seems he dies at the hands of a hero, and so that hero doubts himself. This really jumps around a lot. It really jumps around a lot. It feels like you're in one spot, and then you're in another spot, and it doesn't feel like there's a good amount of continuity coming along with it. Like, it just feels like you're going here, 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 here. And the story itself doesn't feel like it's justified in being this big crossover. Now, I will say this only collects the miniseries, the Legends miniseries. And there were Legends stuff that ran throughout all the regular books at the same time. Superman Man of Steel Volume 1 collects the Legends issues of Superman. And those involve Superman going to Apocalypse and losing his memory and all this stuff. And that's not really touched on that much in here. It just feels like this is totally separate from all the stuff that runs throughout the issues. It gives you a little story. There are some repercussions in this and some big major events. We get Wonder Woman appearing for the first time to all the other heroes. We get the unification of the Justice League that becomes, Justice League International. So there are some big things that happen in the books. The Suicide Squad comes together for the first time. But as a story itself, it's a bit weak. The John Byrne art is fun, but the story itself is a little on the weak side. And it's wrapped up kind of simply. But it's still fun to see the first crossover after Crisis. It's fun to see those events that will then shape DC for those years, for Wonder Woman appearing and the Justice League coming together and Suicide Squad and all that stuff. So I wouldn't go out of my way to pay extra for it. It's just kind of one of those books where you can have it on your shelf and have fun with it. I will say, again, just like I talked about last time in year 2, I do enjoy this more than 92% of everything else that I see coming out at the big 2 nowadays. There you go. All right, that wraps it up for this time. See you guys again next week. Same time, same channel. Leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, notify. See you guys. Take it easy. Bye.